Welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. It has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each. We are conducting this exam in Tashkent. The time right now is 14 o'clock. Let's begin. May I see your identification?
Yes, of course. Here's the ID that I used to register for the exam. Please take a look.
What is your full name?
My full name is Abos Abdullayev. Please call me Abos.
Okay, Abos, for part 1, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. What do you like doing in your free time?
Well, in my free time, I enjoy playing chess with my friends and also reading historical novels. Chess has always been very popular in my circle, and it helps me improve my analytical and strategic thinking. As for reading, I uh, read a lot. It allows me learn about different cultures and times, and also helps me unwind.
Where do you go to relax?
To relax, I often visit the botanical garden in Tashkent. It's very peaceful, and the variety of plants and open spaces are very perfect for a quiet afternoon. Sometimes I just sit there and read, or sometimes I just meditate.
Let's talk about guests.
Okay.
Do you like having guests visit your home?
Yes, I do. I enjoy having guests. In Uzbek culture, hospitality is very important, and we take pride in welcoming guests in our house.
How often do you invite guests to your home?
I usually invite guests over throughout the week, and of course, on special occasions like birthdays or national holidays. It's common in Uzbekistan to have friends or family over quite regularly. I have guests over just about every day. Yesterday, for example, my cousin and one of my classmates came over for a visit.
What do you usually offer your guests to eat or drink?
Typically, I offer traditional Uzbek dishes such as plov, which is cooked rice with lamb or carrots and various types of salads. For the drinks, I offer tea. Tea is very essential. We usually serve green or black tea depending on the time of the day or the age of the guests.
Do you prefer having guests for a short or long period, and why?
I prefer having guests for a longer period. It allows us to enjoy each other's company, have a relaxed conversation, and share meals together. It's also customary in our culture to spend significant time with guests rather than just brief visits.
Can you describe a memorable experience you had with a guest?
Yes, a memorable experience was hosting a friend from Chicago, Illinois, in the USA. We spent a day showing all the sightseeing places and ended with a dinner at my place, and we cooked together. We spent some time, and it was very fulfilling to share, our customs and learn about his.
What are some cultural customs related to hosting guests in your country?
Um, In Uzbekistan, it's customary to greet guests with bread and salt, which symbolizes hospitality. We also make sure to offer the best food and ample tea, and guests are never rushed to leave. Hospitality is considered a reflection of one's respect and generosity.
Have you ever had any difficulties with guests in your home? And if yes, what happened?
Yes, once a neighbor's child accidentally broke a vase during a visit. It was a bit awkward in the beginning, but we just laughed it off. It's important to show that to show people that they are more valuable than material things, and accidents do happen. So.
How do you think being a good host is important in your culture?
Being a good host is crucial in Uzbek culture. It reflects a character and how a person values relationships. Good hospitality can strengthen friendships and even resolve conflicts. It's about showing care and respect, which are core values in our society.
That is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will see these on your screen in just a moment. You will have 1 minute to read these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. In the 1 minute preparation time, you can take notes if you wish. Is that clear?
Yes.
Talk about your favorite dish or meal. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Abos, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay, my favorite dish is undoubtedly plov, which is a traditional Uzbek meal that holds a special place not only in my heart, but also throughout Uzbekistan. Plov is made from rice mixed with pieces of meat, usually lamb, and carrots, onions, and cooked in a large pot. It's seasoned with various spices that gives it a unique and delightful flavor. I typically eat plov at home with my family, but also it's a dish we often prepare for guests and special occasions in Uzbekistan. Making plov is almost an art form, especially during celebrations and when it's cooked in huge quantities. It's not just a family meal, it's also a community experience. I particularly enjoy eating plov during festive events such as weddings or national holidays like Nowruz, which marks the beginning of spring. During these times, the atmosphere is jubilant, and sharing plov helps strengthen the bonds between friends and family members. People in Uzbekistan and those familiar with our cuisine generally have high regard for plov. It's often seen as a dish that brings people together and is a symbol of generosity and hospitality. Guests, especially foreigners, are always curious to try it and just end up loving it. They love the rich flavors and hearty nature of the dish. What else? What sets plov apart for me and why I favorite over other dishes is not only its delicious taste, but also its cultural significance it carries. Preparing and consuming plov is a communal activity that embodies the spirit of sharing and caring in Uzbek culture. Every time I have plov, it's more than just a meal, it's the experience that connects me to my roots and my loved ones.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. Please put the note paper to the side, turn it over, and the pencil as well. And now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you questions related to your response and connected to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about food and popular dishes. Why do you think certain foods become favorites for people?
Foods often become favorites due to a mix of taste, cultural significance, and personal memories associated with them. For instance, many people in Uzbekistan love plov not only because it's delicious, but also it's associated with celebrations and family gatherings. Foods that evoke sense of nostalgia and comfort typically become favorites.
How do you think traditional dishes reflect cultural heritage?
Traditional dishes are direct reflection of a nation's history, geography, and culture. In Uzbekistan, for example, the ingredients and methods used in making plov tell a story of the Silk Road, where spices and cooking methods, cooking techniques were actually exchanged. Such dishes preserve our ancestral heritage and actually connects the generations.
In your opinion, how has globalization affected the diets of people in your country?
Well, globalization has introduced a variety of international cuisines to Uzbekistan, making the diet more diverse. People have access to ingredients and foods that were previously unavailable. However, it also means that traditional eating habits are also evolving, and sometimes there is a risk of younger generation losing touch with the traditional culinary practices.
What are the benefits and some of the drawbacks of having a globalized food industry?
Major benefit is the increased availability of diverse foods and ingredients, which can enrich our diet. However, drawback is potential overshadowing of local cuisines by fast food and international chains like McDonald's, KFC, which can lead to loss of culinary identity and negative impact on health due to less nutritious options being readily available.
Do you think people's food preferences change as they grow older? Why or why not?
Yes, I believe food preferences often change as people grow older due to the changes in health, in taste, and dietary needs. For instance, older adults may prefer less spicy foods or softer textures because they don't want to upset their stomachs.
How important is it to maintain traditional recipes in the modern world?
It is very important to maintain a traditional recipes as they are vital part of our cultural identity and heritage. They offer a sense of continuity and connection to our past. In a rapidly changing world, preserving these recipes keeps our cultural roots stronger.
What role does food play in social events in your culture?
Like I mentioned in the previous part, food is central to social events in Uzbek culture. It's not just about eating; it's about sharing, celebrating, and showing generosity. Whether it's a wedding or a holiday or a casual gathering, the preparation and consumption of food are fundamental ways to express community and hospitality.
Can food be considered a form of art? Please explain your view.
Absolutely, absolutely. Food can be considered as a form of art, like with cloth. The creativity involved in designing the dishes, the colors, the texture used, and the presentation of the final product, serving it to the table. All these all resemble artistic expression, and just like art, cooking can evoke emotions and tell stories.
How do dietary trends affect restaurant offerings in your area?
Dietary trends greatly influence restaurant offerings here. For instance, as people have become more health conscious, many restaurants have actually started offering organic or vegetarian options. International trends like veganism are also starting to appear on menus, reflecting a shift towards more diverse dietary preferences.
What measures can be taken to promote healthy eating habits in society?
Um, uh, there can be multiple ways to do this. For example, using social media is probably one of the major ways. Influencers can also contribute to the success in this method. Also, like advertising and other many ways.
That is the end of part three. That concludes the speaking section of the IELTS exam. You will have your mark in 2 days online after you have finished the other sections, and your official certificate should be in your mail in about 10 days. Goodbye.
Okay.
Wow, fantastic job on this speaking interview, Abos. That is definitely the right path to getting that perfect band 9 score. And of course, for a lot more videos like this one, we encourage everybody to use our premium IELTS package, where we have weekly Zoom sessions to practice speaking with our students. And for a little bit of extra help, you can use the discount code DISH9, DISH9, since we were talking about food and dishes for part 2 here. So use that code in the checkout page, and you can get an extra 10% off. Okay, let's talk a little bit, Abos, about your performance, the good, and what can still be improved. I mean, realistically, if there were a band 10, we could argue for even that level of grading here in this case. Um, you had a very nice balance of answers. So a lot of content. The combined time of the interview here was kind of that perfect 14 to 15 minutes, covering about part one in 6 minutes. Part two was bang on 2 minutes. And then part three about another 7 minutes or so. So very nicely balanced, very good connections. So of course the IELTS exam grades you on fluency and coherence. You were very fluent and very coherent. I had no problems at all understanding your responses, and your responses were obvious. Do you know what I mean by obvious responses?
You can elaborate for the audience.
Sure. Sure. So what I mean by that is you didn't really seek to give me some unique information that would surprise me. You used the concepts that are common around the world, like globalization, culture, tradition, heritage, and what you did well was you took these concepts and you composed your thoughts, and you used extremely good vocabulary to express these clearly and with detail. And that's always what we recommend students to do. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to be very original. That gets confusing even in our own native language, right? So state the obvious, but state it in very accurate and well structured ways. Um, just like I'm using my hands, you also use your hands for a lot of your speech. Body language accompanies verbal language. Um, Anybody who speaks against that needs to really look at human communication in a bit more detail. So even though they're not technically marking you for these hand gestures, they are important. And when candidates are taking the computer-based exam, like what we have here, the computer-based speaking version, I would recommend having a similar setup or frame as what you have, where we see a bit more of your body, a bit more of that expression, because indirectly it could certainly help to give a little boost to the score rather than just having that, floating head. of
Oh,
sometimes you can see the head kind of going below.
yes, I
So
agree.
it's
I
good to
agree.
have that full, yeah, yeah, it's good to have that full body feel. Absolutely. So when you're not face to face, try to have that. If you are face to face, then do what Abos you see doing right now, where the hands are up above the table and you're not kind of all locked in under the table fidgeting. Yeah, not like that exactly. So very nice use of expressions, idiomatic language, natural phrasing in part one. When I was asking you about guests, you mentioned that Uzbek people take pride in their hospitality. Taking pride in is an expression, and that's showing upper intermediate to advanced knowledge of English. Using words like jubilant, for example, um, and um, and other very nice kind of collocations and words like saying people have foods or certain foods are favorites which give a sense of nostalgia, so bringing back memories of childhood or of eating with grandparents. And again, just very nice vocabulary. So vocabulary would be a perfect 9. In fact, again, like I say, if I could give you a 10 for it, I would personally. Now, obviously, you're well educated. Can you tell us a little bit about your educational background?
Yes, I had my bachelor's degree at Westminster International University in Tashkent from 2012 till 2016. I majored in economics with finance, and after a year of graduating the bachelor's degree, I actually went to US to do my master's degree, MBA, in Webster University in St. Louis. Since then, I have been working in logistics field, and I've been working for an American company for almost like 6, 7 years. So it's been quite
Yeah.
a journey.
So it certainly is. So clearly, you've had a lot of experience with English, and you've used English in many professional settings, so in school and in work. That's a big part of preparing for the IELTS exam, is not just focusing on casual everyday language and conversation, but really taking those extra steps to engage in professional English. So, again, important advice here, whatever the interests of the candidate, whether that's dance, football, finance, mathematics, biology, take those steps to practice those topics in English as much as possible. Connection is important. Sounding like a good professional conversation is important. When you talked about food, that was great. If I can criticize, will you allow me to
Yeah,
entertain you just a little
of
bit?
course.
So there are always ways to improve communication for anybody. Even the best presenters in the world continuously work on improvement. And beyond IELTS, everybody, in my opinion, should give attention to improving communication, because it's not only a big part of our success in life, but also a big part of happiness and enjoyment in life, making sure that others understand us and we understand them. So, tips that I would give you, constructive criticism, if you will.
Yeah, I'm ready.
When we were talking, when I asked you the question about any awkward situation with guests, let me just see what that question was exactly. Um, it was, have you ever had any difficulties with guests in your home? What happened? And you mentioned about the visitor who broke a vase or a vase. Pronunciation doesn't matter so much in your speaking. I mean, I think Abos, your pronunciation maybe an 8, 8.5 for sure. Um, Maybe even a 9. I understand you clearly. Pronunciation is very subjective. I speak with a Canadian West Coast accent. Some people might like to hear the word vase. I like the word
Mhm.
vase. That's what I'm used to. So
Mhm.
again, pronunciation doesn't matter so much. However, strength of communication is very important. So ideally, powerful communication starts strong, ends strong with no ambiguity. Using phrases like you know can be dangerous, even though it's just an expression to buy time. It does make the assumption that your listener knows what you're talking about, even though that might not be the case. Often it isn't. So for those really high bands, like 9, 10, let's say, avoid that kind of phrasing.
Okay.
Because in certain settings, and for me in university, I've had professors during presentations say, "No, I don't know. Please explain." And then I go, "Oh, sorry." So, so you need to be careful. Also, end strong. And a trick to doing that is ending with an example. In this question, you said it's important, to, make sure that we respect our guests and to, show them that people are more valuable than objects. So, and then it kind of just, and
Mhm.
again, in profession, you only did that once, right? But especially when you do it just once, it sticks out like a sore thumb because
Mhm.
the listener's going, "Wow, he ended so strong on all of his responses," and then that one just kind of drowned out into into the
Yeah.
abyss of the unknown world.
Mhm.
Instead, you just finish with the example, or you just hard stop on that last word. It's important to show people that they're more valuable than objects, and then that last noun, object, is literally the object of the sentence. You stop on that, right?
Mhm. Okay.
So that is important. You used correlative, subordinate, coordinate conjunctions throughout your speaking. That was amazing. For those of you who don't know what that means, look into it. In part 2, you said that Plov is not only holds a special place in your heart, but also in the hearts of all Uzbek people. Very nice use of that emphasis of not only in my heart, but in the hearts of all Uzbek people, really emphasizing that fact of the importance of this dish. And that's the purpose of correlative conjunctions, and you clearly understand that, so that's fantastic. My one criticism for part 2, it felt a bit rushed. You had so much information, so much content that you were racing the clock. It's very important for IELTS candidates to practice that 2-minute time limit and avoid repetition, avoid racing the clock. Because if it feels rushed, and when somebody has very good English like you have, then you can speak English faster than comfortable for the listener. And you have to, for even a native speaker, obviously. So you have to be cognizant of that and be selective. So if you feel that you're rushing, slow yourself down, select the information a little bit more, and then just
Mhm.
stop. Very few criticisms, but again, just some points to pay attention to for those higher band candidates. Abos, I've been somewhat talking your ear off with my feedback here, and I definitely want you to have a chance to ask me questions that you feel might be pertinent for IELTS aspirants.
My first question is a lot of Uzbek, my people, I would call candidates, IELTS candidates, have problems with eye contact. And I do have personally, I still have, even though I have taken off IELTS multiple times, I still find it difficult to keep my eye on the examiner. I don't know if you paid attention, but it's obvious. What might be the best way or best ways to improve the eye contact? Is there like specific exercises or like any methods?
Absolutely. Yeah, so my degree is in psychology from UVic, and I definitely studied a bit about body language and eye contact. And again, eye contact is not a direct feature of the marking criteria, so it doesn't directly affect the score, but indirectly, absolutely, it impacts the end results. One reason, before I tell you how to keep eye contact, is the confidence. So at first, it might feel awkward and you might feel a sense of shyness trying to hold eye contact. However, the irony is that that changes to confidence and strength once it becomes comfortable. So I highly recommend practicing it, and I highly recommend doing it In the computer-based, look into the camera, because that's when the examiner feels that eye contact. Strangely, when you're actually looking at them, they're not really seeing you look at them. So in the computer-based version, it's somewhat easier because you don't need to make eye contact with the examiner on the screen. You actually need to make eye contact with your camera lens, strangely enough, which makes your speaking potentially easier. You could just glue a picture of somebody on the camera as well, I guess, right, to help with that. Not a bad idea. Now, in the face-to-face, one good trick to hold eye contact and to look at them is, instead of staring into their eyes, like into their retina, stare behind them. So stare at a point that's behind their head, almost like as if you're looking through their eyes. Just don't zone out. So don't don't have that spaced out look. Eventually you have to be careful about that, but look through their eyes, and eventually your eyes will pull back and they will adjust to the front of the face, to the actual eyes. And by that time you'll reach a level of comfort. If you look away, just remind yourself to look back. That's the most important, okay? Start by looking at a point behind the head, and look back when you find yourself looking away. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay.
Very good
Second
question.
question. Oh, yes. Second question is, I have been trying to crack Band 9 for almost a year, and I have been unsuccessful. I had two attempts, and both ended actually 8, but one was really close to 8.5. So, what would be your advice to get that achievement? Like as a
Yeah.
person who actually interviews a lot of students.
Yes, it's a fair question. So to get a Band 9 means that you're an expert user of the English language. That means that it's not just dependent on your performance. There's certainly a degree of luck that's involved between these Band 8s and Band 9s. Even if we take it out of context and just look at the listening and the reading section, where a Band 9 is 1 wrong or perfect, 40 out of 40, there's always going to be a bit of luck involved at that level of precision, right? Because the room for error is so very, very small. And it doesn't just depend on you, it depends on the examiner, their experience, what they're paying attention to more or less. Like in your case, if the examiner is very stringent on pronunciation and they only accept certain forms of the words, then that could take you to an 8. So it might just be a matter of retaking it. Now, having said that, certainly continued use and improvement of English is key. So you mentioned that you studied in the US, and you mentioned that you use English in your work. The more you use English proportionally in your day, the better the chance that you're going to increase your band score and get that Band 9. And that's true for somebody increasing from a 5.5 to a 6.5. If you decrease, then there's a chance that, use your English less in the day proportionally. So from, let's say, using an average of 2 hours of English per day, you suddenly start using it only an hour a day, then probably the score will decrease, especially at those very high levels. Out of context, I was very happy the other day. My watch said that my health improved by 1 point. Now, I'm already quite healthy, doing a lot of running. I stopped running for 3 days. Guess what? The watch says, your health decreased by 1 point. And I'm like, really? I just stopped for 3 days, right? But when you reach a certain level, then you don't have that window of stopping anymore. You really do have to just keep going and going. So
Yeah.
for those of you aspiring to Band 9, no breaks, no rest,
Yeah.
just non-stop English.
Thank you. I'll take it into consideration.
Of course, that life circumstance has to be there, right? I know that you're a recent dad, right? You've shared that
Yes.
with me. Speak English with your daughter. You know, give her that gift of language, and maybe you're already doing that. But whenever you're speaking with her and introducing objects, and you know, teaching her the world that surrounds her, give her the Uzbek, give her the English. That teaches her. That teaches you, right? So just a kind of a quick tip.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I am done with the questions. Thank you
That's
so much.
it. All right. Questions are always welcome. Often success in life uh, is asking the right questions, not thinking about the right answers, thinking about the right questions. So if anybody has questions, they can ask us. Abos, maybe they can ask you as well. We can put your contact info there for everybody if they want to reach out to you. And I have no doubt that you will be you will continue to be extremely successful in your endeavors, and I appreciate you sharing your English with our audience and wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Subscribe to our channel. Click over here. Watch another video. Click right up here. And click our IELTS Hero to join our premium package and get access to all of our videos, practice exams, and a fully interactive course.